In this video we're going to have a look at another Groovy operator which is very useful to use, and that's known as the Elvis operator. And this is a way of being able to elegantly and concisely specify a default value for a particular variable. So let's jump in with an example. Supposing I have a variable which is in a user session, for example. So supposing this is in a web application, in the session somewhere we have a variable logged in user which says the user's name. Let's say Adam, for example. Now suppose we want to display a home page, and in that home page we want to display either the user's logged in name if the user happens to be logged in, or if not, we want to use a symbolic name like a guest, for example. We can do this quite simply using the Elvis operator. So we can put displayed username equals, and then we give the value of the one we'd prefer to use. So we'd prefer to use logged in user if it's set. However, if it's not set, we can use the Elvis operator, which is question mark and colon, and then pass back a default, so guest, for example. So now if I run this, you can see here, because we have logged in user set to Adam, it uses that actual value, so the displayed username is actually Adam. However, if Adam wasn't set, let's say it's null, then you can see now it's using guest. And this also works, by the way, as well, if this was an empty string. You can also see is guest as well. Of course, if there is something in the string, so for example, even if you have a blank space, then it thinks you actually want to use that value. So in that case, it would actually use that value. So just be aware of that. And also the Elvis operator, if you're wondering where it gets that name from, if you look at the question mark and then the colon, it's almost as if the question mark is the quiv of Elvis Presley, so his hair, and then the colon are the eyes. So that's why if you turn it on its side, rotate it 90 degrees around clockwise, you can kind of see it's kind of like a mini Elvis Presley. Anyway, that's where the name comes from, the Elvis operator. You can remember this, by the way, because it's pretty much a shortened syntax of what you could do in Java. So this is kind of like a ternary operator, which is just compressed together. So you could do this in Java, for example, by saying logged in user is not equal to null, then use logged in user, otherwise use guest. And if you run this and actually had a null input variable, then you can see here it would act in the same way, guest. Whereas if you put another name in there and then run, you can see it acts in the same way. But it's just nicer because then you don't have to write this extra stuff that you do in Java. So you can just do logged in user, Elvis, and then guest, rerun, and there we have it. So yeah, that's the Elvis operator, which tells you default values in a very quick and effective way.